It's another week on the Week in Review, and you're watching Trust TV. My name is Martia Omar, and this is where we take a look at some of the biggest events that occurred during the week. In case you missed it or you missed our news update, of course, this is another time for you to catch up with the old Naira notes extension, and of course, the first scarcity being experienced in different states across Nigeria. But we'll start with the one that talks about the extension of the Naira note swapping. So the ongoing exchange of old Naira notes to new ones have been extended to February 10. And in this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal sampled the opinions of residents on the extension of the deadline. Take a look.
After the new Naira notes were widely unavailable on Saturday, residents are breathing high sigh of relief that the validity of old Naira notes have been extended by 10 days from 31st of January.
We do aim to give all Nigerians that have Naira legitimately earned and trapped the opportunity to deposit their legitimately trapped monies at the CBN for exchange. Based on the foregoing, we have today sought and obtained Mr. President's approval for the following. 1. A 10-day extension of the deadline from January 31, 2023 to February 10, 2023 to allow for collection of more old notes.
Ever optimistic, a cross-section of Nigerians believe extension by the CBN will give individuals time to do the needful before the new date of expiration.
Well, we thank God. That shows that we have a government that have the listening ear. You know, a lot of Nigerians have been suffering for this new currency. Where we go to bank to get from the ATM could not be able to disperse. Even though they disperse, they give to 2 or 3 people, they say unable to disperse, money got finished. But we thank God when Nigeria cry to our able Mr. President and he listened to our cry and he give order to CBN governor and they could be able to extend to on 10th of February. That is a good development.
It's actually still because most banks, they don't, and most STM, there's no money. You will stand, like since morning I've been actually in the GTB bank trying to withdraw. It can only dispense 1,000 daily. So you can't have money and be stranded. The money is not circulating actually, and you want people to go and deposit the old one. So the whole system is not really working.
Point of sale operators are advising that the new Naira notes should be made available to cushion the challenges they are facing.
Although there have been a lot of challenges in the area of getting cash. Getting cash has been the challenges for the past days due to the government policy which is affecting all. New Naira notes these days in Nigeria is like a gold that you have to, if you didn't know people at the bank, if you didn't have connection, and if it is based on ATM machine, you won't see. Even some banks, they are not giving the new Naira note.
But are people
they should try and make the new note. They should try and let it to be available.
It is yet to be seen if the CBN extension will lead to a more orderly withdrawal of the bank notes. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And in Lagos, the story is not so different as bitterness, anguish and disappointment are few of the words to describe the pain faced by business owners owing to the scarcity of the new Naira notes during the week.
Bitterness, anguish and disappointment are a few of the words to describe the pain faced by business owners owing to the scarcity of the new Naira notes. The central bank, which redesigned the 1,000, 500 and 200 Naira notes last year, said the old notes will be phased out on January 31st. However, the Apex Bank was forced to announce a 10-day extension as a result of protests and complaints from customers. Visiting Ogba area of Lagos State, traders and operators of POS points lament low circulation of the new Naira notes as it affects business transactions with their customers, as some of them who spoke to Trust TV air their views on the challenges they face in getting the new Naira notes for their customers.
I have at least two or three accounts. I went to bank to go and collect money, to go and withdraw my money that is inside bank. I could not withdraw. ATM, they did not give us money. Inside bank, they did not give us what they even asked me they will give me. They said they will give me just 1,000 naira, 20 naira.
As PS agents, I don't see money to withdraw from bank. Both inside the counter, they say that there's no money in the bank, and at the ATM machine, no money. So I do go to people that sells, like they have provision shop, to get money from them. Today I get 50,000 naira from them, and I transfer 52,000 naira, and they give me 50,000 naira. Somebody want to withdraw 5,000 naira, I charge them 200 naira.
Also speaking, some transporters air their views on the matter.
New naira note and suffering for fuel also. There's no fuel, there's no new naira note, it's not circulated anywhere. I mean, people are suffering. People are suffering. Including me, I know what I'm passing through. It's not an easy task. The old naira note is more than the new naira note. So the government have given time. The time that they give, I mean, on the 10, it's not enough.
If you have problem, maybe as a businessman or a businesswoman, you want to withdraw 200,000, we can't give you because we do not have. Bank are not giving any money. There is no money in the bank. There is no old money in the bank. There is no new money in the bank.
However, some citizens in the country are of the opinion that the new naira notes should be well circulated before phasing out of the old ones.
Meanwhile, the federal government says the current hardship Nigerians are experiencing while trying to get the new naira notes is a temporary situation that is needed for the country's economic growth. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, said this during the week while briefing newsmen at State House, Abuja. Kendia Modu filed in this report.
Scenes of Nigerians on lengthy queues struggling to access new naira notes have become a worrying but familiar sight in the last week. Most citizens believe the federal government is aloof to the suffering of the people, but the Minister of Finance says this is far from the truth. She's, however, describing the development as transient pain, but a necessary and appropriate policy at this moment to combat corruption. Despite the economic hardships, the Finance Minister is quick to point out that the challenges faced by citizens are not peculiar to Nigeria, as the entire global economy is in shock.
Like most economies across the world, the Nigerian economy is challenged on many fronts. Factors impacting the current economic situation are driven by an interplay of external as well as internal causes, which are manifesting in several ways. So there's a narrowed fiscal space due to lower than anticipated oil revenues and continued expenditure on fuel subsidy. There's also high inflation due to higher fuel prices, rising food import prices, as well as the impact on transportation costs, amongst other factors.
The minister says despite the challenges, her ministry has been able to achieve a lot from the 40 deliverables assigned to it by President Buhari.
So the real GDP growth was surprisingly strong in the third quarter of 2023 due to higher private consumption and investments, easing of supply chain bottlenecks, and declining transportation costs. Global inflation is projected to fall to 8.8% in 2022 and to 6.6% in 2023, and then further down to 4.3% in 2024.
She listed the achievements to include an increase in the non-oil revenue share of total federal government revenues from 30 to 73%, the introduction of the Annual Finance Act, and the launching of the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And away from the scarcity of the new naira notes, one of the biggest events during the week was the scarcity of fuel. So the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says modalities are being put in place to address the distribution challenges in the oil sector. The group managing director, Melik Kyari, stated this after meeting with major industry stakeholders in Abuja, and of course it has to do with oil and security sectors as well. Chamung Dabeng was there and she filed in this report.
The country has witnessed severe fuel scarcity, with Nigerians forced to stay for hours in long queues. This scenario cuts across the nation as some states pay above the approved pump price, triggering what was described by the GMD of NNPCL, Mele Kyari, as a crisis. According to Kyari, the issue the country is facing is not a supply issue, but a distribution one, adding that cross-border smuggling is a major factor hampering distribution.
As we speak now, we have 831 million liters in marine. That means in shuttle vessels and in mother vessels. And in the various depots which all of us here represent, including NNPC, we have up to 738 million liters. Going into the market, there is no shortage of fuel going into the market.
We also understand and agree that because of the current international crisis, the cost of freight charter has gone up. So we are also looking at the areas where we can at least cover their cost of transportation, both in terms of marine transportation and land transportation, in order to address this situation.
While the Chief of Defense Staff, Lucky Irabor, stated that the government is not handicapped in addressing the issue, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali, stated that the police was working hand in hand with the NNPCL to quell illegal activity in the sector.
And so I have the mandate of Mr. President to come to say that because it is a crisis of internal nature, which of course the police and other security agencies should lead, but if it's getting across the threshold that affects our defense and security, to let us know that the government is actually not handicapped. There is an alternative.
It is our role to assist the NNPC in monitoring the process of distribution, if that will give us a lead way to the problem.
At the end of a private meeting with industry stakeholders, the GMD of NNPCL, Mele Kyari, assured that a solution was underway.
We have reviewed the situation and we have recognized that pricing is a major issue in the challenges that we're facing around distribution of PMS in our country. Of course, there are other issues, including logistic issues associated with distribution, and these matters are now being carefully resolved.
The fuel scarcity in the country has continued to make life difficult for its citizens, as not only is the product near out of reach, but the cost has become almost unaffordable to many. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Week in Review on Trust TV. More stories after the break. To stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This is still Week in Review on Trust TV. Still in the news, let's take a look at the health sector. No fewer than 32 health workers were infected in Bauchi State with Lassa fever in 2022. Health experts disclosed this to journalists after an overview meeting of safety control measures and prevention of the disease held at the teaching hospital in Bauchi. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the story.
Containing the spread of Lassa fever among health workers and people from various communities across the state would require that medical personnel adopt a safety-first approach.
Let's assume that that patient is carrying something infectious, and we can contract that infectious disease from him. So the basic teaching that we have had from school and even while on training about infection prevention and control practices is supposed to be with us, supposed to be our culture, supposed to be our attitude all the time. Let's employ infection prevention and control measures while seeing all patients, irrespective of the clinical presentation and irrespective of the diagnosis, so that at the end of the day, even if the patient is diagnosed to have Lassa fever, will not be having any risks or high-level risks of exposure.
The food easily gets contaminated, and then when you consume it, then you come down with the disease, and before you know it, you start spreading among your family members and the community at large. So we are calling on our people to heed to the advice that is constantly being given all over the media, be it the conventional radio, television, or the social media outlets.
But going forward, stakeholders are urging government to increase funding and create more awareness on personal hygiene.
I always, call on government to continue to, provide more funds for the activities in the state, so that, the partners like us that are here also feel encouraged and motivated to continue to support the government to, reach out to the teeming populace in Bauchi.
Very late, I was bleeding from all body orifices. I was bleeding from the nose, then I had a surgical procedure too. So I was also bleeding from the surgery site. I had about 11 units of blood. I was managed in the intensive care unit, but today, alhamdulillah, I'm saying my testimony because I survived it. Many people are no longer with us today, so we have to be very careful. Lassa fever is real and it is deadly.
Nigeria has the largest number of Lassa fever cases in West Africa, followed by Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone.
Former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice during the week appeared in a London court ahead of the trial for alleged organ harvesting. His accused daughter was unable to attend as she is in a hospital, and her defense team has also submitted a psychological report claiming she is not fit to stand trial. The court adjourned soon after convening in order for prosecutors to read the report. Ekweremadu is accused alongside his wife Beatrice and daughter Sonia as a doctor of bringing a 21-year-old man from Nigeria to have his kidney removed. The accuser is said to have raised the alarm after refusing to consent to the preliminary test at a North London hospital. And on a sad note, a 3-story commercial complex under construction in Gwarinpa district of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, collapsed, trapping over 50 persons. Emergency response team dispatched to the area said rescue was underway at the time of filing this report. But Aisha Saliu has more.
It's a sad day for the families of victims trapped under the rubble of a 3-story commercial complex construction site.
A lot of people come work today because we are even lacking some workers like that. So a lot of people come today. We have people that are parking blocks. We have people that are serving us. We have Mercy, where we they work. So really, we measure sand finish. We start our work. So me, I just come on. I just went out small, make I buy something. So before I know, I hear shout, "Quick!" But see where are they? I don't even go my way coming. I see this building is going down.
Eyewitnesses say the area where the collapsed building is located has always been known to be a reserved green area, but upon construction, the building was rushed and erected in a short period of time.
When we're working on this building now was raised under 6 months. Before this building that's collapsed, every day yes, they build it under 6 months.
Although emergency and safety agencies are working on rescuing the victims trapped under the rubble, Building regulatory bodies say investigation will commence immediately to ascertain both the remote and immediate causes of the incident.
You can see what the struggle we are making. The crane is working, all security agencies are around, and other good Samaritans are also around to give a helping hand to see that those who are trapped inside have been are rescued.
In this kind of operation, it's usually multi-agency, multi-stakeholders operation. That is why you can find fire here, police, civil defense, road safety, and even some construction companies, because no one agency has all the equipment that is needed to perform this kind of complex operation.
For us to start Operation Blame now, we are going to be distracted in the operation of saving lives. However, at the end of everything, at the end of the exercise, the whole of this area is going to be subjected to what we call integrity tests.
Officials assure other residents of their safety, noting that the victims, especially those reportedly trapped under the rubble, would be rescued and stabilized accordingly. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Also, the next day, Kabir Lawal was at the scene and he reported that more people were also rescued.
The building collapse on Thursday has been attributed to use of substandard product. Though fatality figure is low, many sustained injuries. Head of Operation Fire Service Zachos Adebayo said that so far, 24 people have been rescued, adding that 3 people lost their lives, while the injured ones have been taken to hospital for treatment.
The updates presently is we have so far brought out 24 lives. 21 were rescued alive, while 3 were fatally injured. And all of them have been taken to different hospitals in Abuja receiving treatment now. All the stakeholders are on the ground, and we have been charged to take up our responsibility to ensure that safety of life and protection of properties are very, very adhered to in FCT.
Director General, FCT Federal Emergency Management Agency, Abbas Idris, lauded the collaboration of all security agencies for keeping the area calm, saying that FEMA will not relent in its efforts to curb such ugly incident.
This moment, we are trying to get to ground zero to ensure that nobody is left out on the ground.
Ishaku Mohammed, FCT Coordinator, Standard Organization of Nigeria, said the organization has already picked most materials used from the collapsed building for investigation, which will go a long way to avert frequent building collapse.
So as soon as we get the report of the incident, we are directed to come to the site and see for ourselves what happened, pick samples of materials used, because basically most of the materials used are iron rods, cements, the gravels, and all the necessary things that are needed to any structure like this. So we are here to do a kind of preliminary investigation, take samples, take to the lab, find out whether it is the right kind of material that is being used for the purpose of. That's what I have.
Abuja residents have been urged not to compromise quality of building materials to enable them meet the required standard in the Federal Capital Territory. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Minister of Information, Nahi Mohammed, says government is working to ensure free and fair elections next month, insisting that President Muhammad Buhari is committed to also providing a level playing field for all candidates in contests for political offices. The minister spoke on Wednesday during the week at State House, Abuja, when responding to questions from correspondents after a meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Kendi Amode has more.
I believe that there are elements in the villa that want us to lose the elections because they didn't get their way.
Claims by the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, that certain people inside the presidential villa are working against the chances of the All Progressives Congress on the ballot has been trending. The Kaduna State governor had insinuated on national television that the recent policies of the federal government, especially the Naira redesign, cash withdrawal limit, and the resurfacing of queues at petrol stations are targeted at working against APC's presidential election.
And I think he has shown
by words and by deed that is committed to a free, fair, and credible election. And fair, free, and credible election actually means not favoring anybody or disadvantaging anybody. And
there's also a response for Transparency International and its latest Corruption Perception Index, which was released on Tuesday. In the latest index release, TI noted that despite scoring 24 out of 100 points, Nigeria moved to 158th position out of 180 countries assessed in the 2022 ranking. But government insists it's not fighting corruption to impress Transparency International.
I can assure you that we do not, as a government, know what template TI is using. But whatever template they are using is clearly oblivious of what this administration is doing to fight corruption. Corruption fighting is not just by how many people have you arrested, how many people have you tried, how many people have you convicted. Of course, that even in that respect, we have a very impressive record. Is it EFCC? Is it ICPC?
The latest ranking from TI comes despite repeated pledges by the Buhari administration to fight graft. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And with that, we have come to the end of Week in Review on Trust TV for this week. But for more reviews, you can connect with us across all our social media platforms, and do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. My name is Martia Umar. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful weekend.